All right, so today was day 5, and we spent the entire day in the village of Saint Lo, which is a French town that was destroyed by Allied bombing from planes during the invasion, and then was liberated 44 days after D-Day by the 29th and 35th American Infantry Divisions. And the city had to be completely rebuilt. So we went through and saw a bunch of things. We saw a shrine in an old church that had been built for the 29th and 35th Divisions. We saw old hedgerows that a farmer took us through. We saw a memorial of the entryway to a prison that held French resistance fighters that was destroyed by Allied bombing. And then most of the day was the 75th anniversary of the liberation of St. Lo celebration or ceremony. So there were 3 ceremonies. One was at the base of a fortress. One was at a monument to one of the American soldiers who died there. And the third was at a church. So this day really was all about those who lived through it having a need to remember, because the shrine to the 29th and 35th Divisions was really created by them as they were visiting and coming back to the town in later years. They asked the townspeople what there was for them, and there was nothing. So they started bringing memorabilia to this place, and that then became, their spot in town where they could come back and reminisce. And now this might come off as a criticism, but I thought that the ceremonies were really pretty dry and pretty solemn, as they should be to a degree. But once the last veterans are gone, I don't know what motivation there is going to be for other people to come and learn these stories and visit these places. The ceremonies weren't really inspiring interest in the events. So when it comes to really remembering and understanding this kind of thing, I think we do have to keep in mind, yes, to recognize the experience of those who served, but pretty soon there will be none left who served at these places. And what do we do then to keep interest in it? So for my project, really, if the purpose is to learn and preserve history and stories in a way that's meaningful so that they are continuing to be passed down for future generations, whatever the students produce is going to have to be engaging. It can't be dry, it can't be textbook-like, it can't be solely informational and somber and serious. It has to have some life to it. It has to have some vibrancy and some emotion and some feeling, and it's got to be done in a way that resonates with young people nowadays. I think that's a must. And many of the places we've been to so far on the trip have been engaging in that way. But I felt that these 75th anniversary celebrations really were missing something. They were missing that engagement by the audience. Maybe they were only meant for the people who served, but as I said, there were no Americans present who served. So in order to keep the interest of the attendees and the family members and their kids and grandkids going down the road, I think the format has to change, and I think it has to be done in a different way. So it was a long day, it was an instructive day, and it was definitely a day that helps me hone what kind of project I want this to be. It's got to be engaging, it's got to be relevant, it's got to be modern. So that's all for today. See you tomorrow. Signing off.